Thank you for joining us on Community Focus this morning, where we look at the issues that matter in South Florida and the people and organizations that are making a difference. It seems like an almost daily occurrence that there is a new study or a survey naming Miami one of the most expensive places to live in the country. Just this week, it was reported that our insurance rates are as much as 3 times the national average. So needless to say, it's not surprising that many people, are struggling to make ends meet. And many of these are people who never worried before, solid middle-class working people who are now finding themselves outpriced from owning or renting a home. And with technology gaps, because the technology is constantly changing, many are finding it hard to get or maintain good-paying jobs. United Way Miami has just launched a new workforce training fund that could not only help bring workers' skills up to date, but can also help newly trained workers find better paying jobs. It's called Upskill Miami, and I am so happy to welcome the president, CEO of United Way of Miami, Symeria Hudson. Please tell us all about it. This is an amazing program.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ellen. I am so excited to be here, and I just want to say thank you for having us on your show. And I will tell you, you are tackling and helping to bring about awareness for some very key issues that are facing our community, but also being a great representative for hardworking people that are in Miami. So we just recently launched what we call Upskill Miami. It is what we call a transformative new fund. Now, the fancy way of talking about this is really about an opportunity for United Way to partner with some incredible people in our community to help bring about new opportunities and new skills for people in Miami. Now, the transformational part about it is that this fund will help go toward supporting folks that are in the category that you talked about, heads of household moms, veterans, youth that are aging out of foster care, to really give them an opportunity to be trained and upskilled to go into industry-leading jobs right in our community. United Way is going to be investing $2.5 million that will go directly to help this underserved population in our community.
That's fantastic. And that's all towards training so that ultimately they'll be able to maintain a level of existence, a lifestyle that's comfortable on their own without needing further assistance. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I will tell you, the people that we're targeting are typically, we're looking at those that are making somewhere either below $35,000 or even a little bit at $35,000. And the intent is to help get them into industry-leading job opportunities for them to have a career path, to also be connected to a network of employers and people that will give them that support system that they need to further carry on in their career. The one thing that we see in Miami, and you've highlighted this, is that the cost of living in Miami, even though it's a beautiful place we've been able to grow and develop over the years, but it's become very, very expensive for people to live and work. Mm-hmm. So our goal is to increase that wage opportunity for people to be able to go into whether it's affordable housing, or just, again, live the life that they want to live in our community. What we've also found, too, Ellen, is that this timing of this program is perfect. There are jobs that go unfilled every single day in key industries like healthcare and transportation, hundreds of jobs. And so by us partnering with some incredible employers in our community, educational providers, and also providing scholarships for those people to get into these training programs, to go into those jobs, we are literally at the center of all of this, ensuring that we can help both ends of the spectrum.
I keep hearing there are tons of job openings, and I'm not sure why the jobs aren't being filled. Is it that the technology has moved too far away for people? Or is this still part of the post-pandemic, I don't want to work in an office, or what they're calling the quiet quitting and the resignation, all these names they've come up with for people not working, and I don't know how they're getting by.
Well, I think there's a couple of things that are happening. You hit on one of them. First of all, there is a level of post-pandemic impact here. And even though we saw so many challenges during the pandemic, there were certain industries that kept growing, things like transportation. So that's one area where we are literally providing opportunities for people to get trained and be trained at a school, for example, called CDL. They are focused on transportation. So we can link. So the glue here is that United Way is linking that individual who is interested in going into transportation, ensuring that they have the support financially that they need to go into these training programs and then go into jobs. Another example of that is that transportation, we had the president of the CDL school at our press conference last week, and he gave a great example. He said that folks that come in making $30,000 or $35,000, let's say in a current job, once they complete this training program and go into a transportation job, they could be making upwards of $65,000,
Wow.
doubling their income. That's one example.
And also, I just keep thinking, what a way to see the world. You're driving a big truck, but I mean, that is not a simple thing to just take on. You do need special training for driving and with people converting to delivery services, which started with the pandemic, delivery and driving is huge right now. So, yeah.
It is very huge. Amazon. We were all at home. Well, most of us were. I was still working and going into the office, but a lot of us were doing a lot of ordering. And so that is a very important field that kept growing and continues to grow. Another area, and something that I have personal experience in before I came into philanthropy, I spent 15 years of my career in medical technology. I worked in the healthcare industry. And no matter where I worked, all over the world, from being in London, I spent years in London and also in the States working in healthcare. There has always been a shortage for clinicians. And certainly post-pandemic, we saw even more of a need to replenish the supply of great clinicians and working in hospitals and other healthcare organizations. So that is also another industry that we've focused on. We have partners like Baptist Health, Jackson Health, United Home Care Agency, where we're also helping to link people who are interested in healthcare, providing them the opportunity to go get trained, for example, at Miami-Dade College. And when they come out, they have opportunities to work at some of those fine organizations. And so that is another growing industry. Again, area where there are jobs that go unfilled every single day.
And that's never going to be a job that's not needed. We always need health care.
Absolutely.
And
always
with our aging population, the home care is also huge, particularly in South Florida with so many retirees here. So it's sort of like guaranteeing yourself a job for life. And there again, changing technology requires new education. And I'm glad you mentioned Miami-Dade College because, first of all, we know they're affordable. And school is not inexpensive either, for the most part, to get training. And they've just done a great job at honing in on certain fields that are really important to fill jobs with. So they're very oriented
I would agree with that. I would agree. Madeline Pumiega, who's the president of Miami-Dade College, was at our press conference. They are one of our partners, as I mentioned before, and she really shared a very important comment during that press conference. She mentioned that there not only is a strong demand for healthcare, but she specifically talked about the certified nursing assistant program that they offer, being able to bring folks into an industry and an environment and or a role that they know will be needed over and over. And so we are very thrilled to have Miami-Dade College as one of our educational partners.
I am personally, I ended up going back to school there last year. So I take my one class a semester, and I haven't enjoyed school this much since last time I went.
Oh, wow. It's so exciting. And I would tell you, just being able to have whether people that we are focusing on within our population, and we mentioned, you said in your opening about hardworking people, we see this group of people, we call them our ALICE population. These are asset limited, income constrained individuals that are actually employed.
Right.
And we are really going after this target. We released a report a few weeks ago, our new ALICE report, highlighting the number of households that are falling in this category. 500,000, close to 500,000 households fall into this category. And again, it just really points to the need of what we're doing at United Way and so many other partners in our community there is a need out there, a huge need for the work that we do.
Yeah, that's an enormous population. And when you mentioned the schooling, I was just reminded that with Miami-Dade, they have so much flexibility with their classes. You can do completely remote classes, take them at times that are convenient for you as you're working so that it's not the kind of burden that it used to be, where how are you going to fit in working, taking care of children, running a household, and adding college to improve your skills. So this is a way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, a number of the people that I've been in classes with are in this situation. They are Alice population people. They're working class, but they don't make quite enough money and they struggle. But they're smart and looking to better themselves.
Absolutely. And I think the spirit of all of the partners, including Miami-Dade College, Baptist, Jackson, United Home Care, and CDL, they have a similar mission as we do. And that's why we found them to be excellent partners that have signed up with us to work with us in this first phase. So it's nothing like having like-minded people trying to tackle some of the bigger opportunities in our community. So it's fantastic. I'm glad you speak so highly of Miami-Dade College because we are one of their champions as well. And certainly we're looking to bring on other partners, but we're so grateful to have them at the table with us as we start this first phase.
They're just such a huge part of the community. Now I have to ask you mentioned $2.5 million for this program for funding training. How did you come about, first of all, with the concept for the upskill program, and now where is the funding coming from?
Well, the concept really came from looking at what are some of those opportunities in our community that United Way can further help improve upon. All the things that we've talked about before in the community, whether it's inflation or affordable housing or wage gaps, we said that there's a possibility that we can help support and solve for those through economic mobility. And so that economic mobility piece has always been at the backdrop of us looking at programmatic opportunities to help our population. So the thought and the idea, we came up with Upskill a workforce initiative about a year ago. We did some pilot work to realize that there are certain industries, as I've talked about before, that were more in demand. We learned from that pilot. We were now able to take a lot of those learnings and put them into this new Upskill Miami program. So it was really based on what the need of the community was and is, and to be able to take that need and create a program that can directly help support our Alice population. And so that's how it came about. We did a lot of homework. We did a lot of work. We strategized. We wanted to be very responsible and very targeted with creating something that we believe could be a big help to our community. Now, the funding, the $2.5 million, is really what we consider seed funding, and that was through the generosity of the Mackenzie Scott Foundation. So it came through that donation that was given to us through the Mackenzie Scott Foundation, and we are very, very grateful. So that's why a lot of the homework was done to ensure that we had a great program that can really help people in our community. So that funding came through Mackenzie Scott. And the $2.5 million is directly tied to those scholarships that we're going to be offering to folks. So as you mentioned before, a lot of times people don't have the money to go back to school. They're very smart people. They just don't have the capability. Most people cannot write a $5,000 check or a $1,000 check or a $500 check. So we're saying we don't want that to be an impediment for folks to go back to school. And so we said $2.5 million is based on what the actual tuition will be for a 14 to 16 week program, because we're really focusing on short-term educational programs that can get people into jobs quickly. And the impact that we're looking to make is to have at least 500 people that we are able to educate and train to go into jobs. And these are not jobs that they may get. For example, with Baptist and Jackson Health and United Home Care, it is 100% job placement.
Wow.
Guaranteed jobs waiting for them. The CDL school has a placement rate of upwards of 90%. So this is not be trained and sit on the bench and hope that a job comes along. It is to be trained and go directly into a job.
And this is kind of an opportunity also for people who are looking for a career change. You know, someone who may have dreamed about being a nurse their whole life and just never had the opportunity. This would be it. 500 spots, 500,000 people in the Alice population. How will you determine who fills those spots? What are the requirements, and what do you do if you have more applications than spots? How do you make those
Absolutely.
choices?
Oh,
It's
absolutely. Well, first of
hard.
all, we hope that it is hard, and we hope that we can create a lot of demand. I will tell you, when we launched this last week at our press conference, we got, oh my gosh, we got so much community outreach, and there's a lot of excitement around what we do. So we really hope that we're creating a lot of demand because that's what we want. Let's talk about the evaluation of the potential candidates. The great news about working with incredible partners, like I had mentioned, they know best what they need at their institution. What we provide is an overview of the population or the demographics that we're looking for, such as the female head of households, the youth that are aging out of foster care, the veterans. So we have specific, those that are making $35,000 or less living in Miami-Dade County. So we've given that criteria set to those partners.
Okay.
And said that they are the ones within this program that we are going to target. In terms of specifics that meet the culture and the criteria of their organization, they are best to determine that. So there will be a screening process, but each partner has access, or the candidates will have access to apply with those individuals that participate in this program. But we've said you've got to meet these basics, and then from there, they will decide what they need within their institution, because they can better, even though I've been in healthcare, there's nothing like Jackson or Baptist to be able to say, this is what I need in a CNA.
Right.
So they have to determine what those specifics are other than United Way. We just want to be the link, and we want to make sure that we are collaborating with everybody to ensure that the folks that are within this population get a fair shot.
So if someone is hearing this and they're going, yeah, I fit that category, I make this little, I'm head of household, I'm a veteran, whatever the combination of factors are, or an individual factor, and they say, yes, I want to do this. What is their process now to start and get to that meeting with CDL or Baptist or Jackson, Miami-Dade?
Oh, well, the great news about it is that all of our partners have information about the Upscale Miami on their website. But because we are a hub, they can always go to our website at unitedwaymiami.org. And on that website, we'll give them specifics on how to get to the other. They can certainly leave information for us. We can help to connect them. But that will also give them access to the other partners too. And from there, they can apply for the program.
Okay.
But certainly on United Way website, we can be the conduit, and they can go there to find the information that they need.
Perfect. Again, we're speaking with Symeria Hudson, the president and CEO of United Way of Miami, and this amazing new program, Upskill Miami, that will transform people's lives and transform our working place and create opportunities so that the people who are working but still can't make ends meet will have better opportunities for higher paying jobs and better skilled jobs. And this transformation is a perfect word for what you're doing and funding this. Now,
excellent. Well, we're so happy. We're very happy. And I do want to just leave you with this one point, because you have so many incredible listeners and folks that want to get involved. We named it a fund on purpose. We have great partners, which is the ones that I've talked about. We are also looking to have more people to contribute to the fund. There's nothing like each and every person in the community to be able to say that they've been able to help United Way and others to fulfill their purpose and being in Miami and fulfill their dreams. So there are opportunities to invest in the fund as well. So we certainly are grateful for Mackenzie Scott for the seed dollars, but we want to make even more of a greater impact. And the more funds that we have, the more opportunities that we can help more people in our community.
And is that something they would go to your website for? Usually there are donate links right there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And certainly they can always reach out to me personally, but certainly on the website, there are opportunities to donate.
And this information is probably on the website, but I'll ask anyway, are there certain types of paperwork? Do people need proof of residency, a W-2, proof of wages, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. You're right. There are specifics there. I will tell you the criteria set is not lengthy. We want to make sure that people have an opportunity, but certainly living and working in Miami-Dade County, that is one of our requirements because, again, we're trying to impact and do everything that we can to help the folks within Miami-Dade County. But you're right. There are some specifics. It's not a long list, but there will be specifics on the website that will outline exactly what is needed to be part of the program.
Okay, so unitedwaymiami.org is the place to go to learn about Upskill Miami, opportunities to be educated with a scholarship for specific types of jobs. And I want to give credit again to your partners who are creating these opportunities: Baptist Health, Jackson Health System, Miami-Dade College, the CDL School. And for anyone who doesn't know, CDL is a type of driver's license for the big 18-wheeler trucks. And they are always in need. And of course, United Home Care. So do you see this in future moving into other areas and this being an ongoing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Phase 1. We named it Phase 1 for a reason, because there will be a Phase 2 and a Phase 3. So yes, we are starting, as I mentioned before, starting with healthcare and transportation. We saw that was just such an incredible need and a demand there right off the bat. We are also exploring opportunities in construction as well. That's another post-pandemic piece that just kept growing over and over, or even more and more in our community. So we're evaluating opportunities in construction, and we're exploring other things even beyond construction, things like aviation. So as we continue to see success in this, we will continue to grow, but definitely construction is next on our list.
Okay. How about affordable housing? Is that something you have any insight into, any power to encourage landlords to help keep rates down? I understand that their expenses go up too, but I mean, I've heard stories of people who have been paying one rate for X amount of time and then the landlord triples it. And I know that their rates, property taxes, are not tripled. So
it's very tough.
No,
and I understand, Ellen, and it is one of those things where you can certainly understand that there are a lot of this has to do with what has gone through, certainly with the pandemic, the moratorium, that being lifted, the inflation rate that's happening in our community, because we're getting so many people transplanting into Miami because it is such a beautiful place. So all of that in itself creates this level where renters are feeling like they do have to increase because their expenses are going up. It really is tough all around. I think for us, it is creating that if I can help close the wage gap, if I can help ensure that people are going into opportunities that can help improve whether it's economic mobility and improve their salary so they can stay in their home, that's what United Way can do. And can we build more housing? That's something that a lot of smart people in Miami are looking at and figuring out how we can build more affordable housing. But if I can hit it at the grassroots level, which are wages, which is salary, which is the economic mobility, that's the piece that I can help support.
Okay.
And if I can tackle that, I think that's going to be a good start for a lot of people in our community.
Oh, this is
and
a great
that's really
start.
Where we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I do, sometimes I'll mention things just to sort of plant seeds in people's minds. And when I say affordable housing, I know there's so much talk about office space that is going unused because more people are working remotely. And my first thought was, well, let's turn it into affordable housing. The space is there. Why let it go to waste? There are things that can be done with it. But another thing that is really a factor is education. And that's one of your key issues that United Way Miami deals with. We're just a couple weeks away from school starting. So as long as I have you here, what do you need from the community, from those who have some spare change in terms of supplies to give to children and help them with their education? And what about your Eden program?
Yes. Well, a couple of things. I think with United Way, as you mentioned before, education is a really critical component for us. And one of the things that a lot of your listeners may not know is that United Way has not only a world-class school that's on our campus, it's an early childhood educational center. It's what we call early childhood education and excellence. And we are been one of the providers for almost 17 years in our community and focusing on children ranging from literally infancy all the way to 5 years old. And we have what we call a demonstration school. And at this school, we are putting in place or have in place some of the best practices and working with young kids. And so that's something that we do at United Way. We've done it for many years. We take a lot of those best practices, we infuse them throughout Miami-Dade County into other programs to help support many children and many educators. So that's one of the big pieces that we have at United Way that's been a core and what I consider a cornerstone. It is considered a national model. We're the only United Way in our network that has a demonstration school. And we've been able to go all over the country and have people visit us from many places to learn about what we do. So that's something that we take a lot of pride in. The other piece, and you talked about donations and support, we are always so grateful for people giving to us, whether it's back to school supplies. We do have volunteer programs and engagement programs where people from the community and different corporations come in and help us prepare for back to school. And we give those supplies to many kids in the community and in schools. But certainly at our demonstration school, parents do pay tuition, and we subsidize a good portion of that. They get some of the best education that a child could ever receive in this country, and we are so grateful to be able to provide that. But we do subsidize that 50%. And so anything that people can do to help support that work, we're grateful. If there are supplies and back-to-school material for schools, feel free. We have a location right there in Miami, of course, so they're more than happy to provide those support and supplies to us. But education is very important, very important.
Yeah, and it makes a difference in the long run. So now you're working toward educating people who are basically adults and those aging out of foster care. And on the other end, you're starting with them very young. So ideally, they will be at a place when they arrive in the working world that they'll already be set up to get one of the jobs that is able to sustain life, because it's not easy right now.
It is tough. And I think if we can start, and one of our goals is certainly through education, whether it's helping to support and train our adults and starting them early and making sure that they have everything that they need to be successful on their journey to being an adult, that's where we live. And that's exactly what we want to continue to do at United Way.
Okay. It's wonderful what you're doing. One last question. Can you recommend somewhere that people can learn to help put together a resume? And I know that certainly Mission United with United Way works with veterans to help them practice interviewing for jobs. So I was just thinking about people who need a refresher or are new to the working world and need to know how to put together a current proper resume and also how best to shine in an interview.
That's right. And certainly they can reach out to United Way. The great thing about us, we also provide support to a lot of different agencies in our community that help ensure that we are supporting our population, our ALICE population on many angles. So we do have agency partners that we fund that can help support those, whether it's resume writing or job preparedness. So if they reach out to us directly, we can certainly help navigate them to one of those agencies. We do also provide the financial stability support. And to your earlier point with veterans, we do work specifically with them. But we do have other partners that are part of our network that we can help ensure that people are getting prepped and ready for that very first interview to make that first impression. So we do have many partners that can support that work in helping that person be prepared.
Okay. This is an incredible new program, Upskill Miami, through United Way of Miami. The website again, unitedwaymiami.org. I hope we don't crash your site.
Oh, I love that. Please crash it. Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. It'll always go back up. But,
Yes,
this is a solution. And that's what I love to see is organizations that don't just have concerns about issues, but actually have solutions. And I thank you so much. I don't know how you keep up with all of it. That could be another whole interview we do about balancing work and life. But I thank you, Symeria Hudson, President, CEO of United Way of Miami. This is a tremendous program. Please visit unitedwaymiami.org.
Thank you, Ellen. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening to Community Focus this morning. If you have questions about today's show or would like to suggest a topic, please feel free to email me at ellen.jaffe, J-A-2-Fs-1-E, @cmg.com. Join us again next Sunday for an all-new edition of Community Focus, and have a wonderful day.